So as soon as we knew that was done, I text ran at like 11 something, and I said ran with 3 exclamation marks. He got off the phone. I think he was on the phone with his wife. He said, "Hey man, tell me some good news, right?" And he said, and from there, I said, "Man, you got your dude, bro. It's good, man."
Welcome to the Raw Facts podcast. I am your host and producer, Ben Arthur, joined by NFL agent Paul DeRousselle. He's, an agent I've had the opportunity to make a relationship with the last couple years. He's, for those of you who are Titans fans listening, he is the agent of Jeffery Simmons. Just negotiated a mega deal for Jeff entering the 2023 season, but we're here to kind of talk about Paul and his story. So, Paul, thank you so much for joining the show. How's everything going?
Man, it's good on this end, bro. I was telling someone the other day I've been sleeping a little bit better lately. Having the opportunity and the privilege to represent a talent like Jeff, it was a big deal. It's a lot goes into it, more so than people think from the outside. So just when it was over, I don't know if you remember when you kind of finished college. You maybe sometimes had that dream when you wake up and you got to go back to class, or you got something else to do. I've still been it still hasn't really hit me that this is happening, and I'm just excited, man, just to have been a part of the process.
Yeah, so I mean, Paul, why don't we just kind of start there, negotiating that deal? Like, obviously, your first big deal, 4 years, 94 million, around 66 million in total guarantees, just a massive contract. What was that process like for you? The nerves, the anxiety, the highs, the lows. What was going through that entire process like for you?
Man, pressure is a privilege. To have the opportunity to be at that table, I'd be lying to you if I tell you that there isn't nerves. There's nerves in anything that you want to do really well at. You had all these factors. A new general manager. My first time being at the table for such a significant deal. A lot of times as an agent, you at least get to, do a lower deal on the second contract. And then I just, had to go straight in there and, swim. And, the nerves, but, I put in so much preparation. The level of preparation was high, and the rapport I was able to build with Rand was also very good. And the elephant in the room business that Jeffery Simmons is a unicorn, bro. So he's an elite player, and an agent's best friend is an elite player. You don't really see many elite agents that don't have elite players. So having him made my job, I would say, significantly easier than it would have been if I wouldn't have been representing a generational talent.
For Jeff to have that trust in you, though, Paul, like, because in a lot of cases, right, these elite players have agents who are already well known and have already negotiated like 10, 15, 20 mega deals. For you being an up and comer, and for Jeff to have that faith in you, what did that mean to you, and how much pride did you take in that?
It meant the world to me, man. The same way you watch Jeff on Sundays, where he, is a leader on that field, where he makes those people around him better. He has a similar energy with just people in his circle, from his uncle on to his sisters to me. He's one of those people that just instills a level of confidence in you. And so to know that he thought that much of me, it actually empowered me. And it's like, okay, well, if he's believing in me, he must see something in me, and I must be good enough. It kind of validated what I already knew about myself. And Jeff's kind of always been the person that's always bet on himself. He's always moved how he was going to move. When he was coming out, he didn't initially sign with an agent. He believed in his uncle and his uncle's vision for his career. So he's always been a bit unconventional, but if he believes in you and he trusts you, you're in his circle forever. And I was blessed that I was able to build that rapport with him over time to, for him to give me an opportunity. I say give, I earned that opportunity that he saw enough in me to have. And it's something that, I'll carry with me the rest of my career.
Paul, what was it like for you being able to like have this deal on the table with Rand Carthon, the Titans GM, and being able to call Jeff, call his uncle, tell his family, like, look, guys, we have the deal. Like generational wealth is is right on the table for you. What was maybe can you take us through what that moment was like, calling or texting Jeff, however it played out, telling him, look, we got what we want.
Yeah, man, it kind of, when you're doing the deal, man, you can kind of start to feel when it's getting close. I can't explain it, but it's just like it's like the flow of a game. And you knew that, we were moving. We had kind of gotten close on the term. Rand and I had just met that Sunday in Nashville. I had just gone to church. Shout out to Bishop Walker. I had just gone to church that morning, and Rand and I sat down for a couple of hours before I left to fly out to New York. And I knew we were close. And I said, look, man, I'm gonna get back to Jeff. Jeff and I talked a little bit that Tuesday, that Wednesday, and that Thursday. Finally, Thursday night, I'm like, look, bro, I think we're here. We can sit here and maybe weigh this out. As an agent, man, you're an advisor. So I had to give him all the pros and all the cons of the deal. And at the time, the pros significantly outweighed, the cons. And he said, it made me kind of nervous, bro, because he like, Paul, if you say this is what it is what it is. I'm like, oh man, So it was a little panic. I was confident in it, but it was so much finality to it because you kind of felt like it was going to go on and on and on and on. But once we kind of got close on the guarantees and the AAV and the things that we wanted, he spoke to his uncle. All three of us got on the phone, and that was a interesting conversation. His uncle poked at the deal a little bit, and forced me to stand on whether or not I believed in it. And about 30 minutes later, we three grown men on the phone crying. Like, I'm talking everybody on the phone crying, like, man, we loved each other because, we've been going through this for like 3 months now. So to get it done and to know that it was all good. So as soon as we knew that was done, I text Rand at like 11 something. And I said Rand with 3 exclamation marks. He got off the phone. I think he was on the phone with his wife. He said, hey, man, tell me some good news. Right. And he said, and from there, I said, man, you got your dude, bro. It's good. And the following Friday, everything kind of got out, and it was done, man, on Good Friday.
Wow. And it sounds like you took a lot of pride in that, obviously, Paul. And I guess maybe I want to get at to why you're an agent in the first place. I mean, what maybe motivated you into becoming a sports agent, and is that feeling kind of what you do it for, to help guys like that get the money they deserve?
Absolutely, man. I tell people all the time, we hear so much talk about all the super agents all the time. You hear them, it's the same 5 or 6 guys, but there are no super agents without super players. So there's a certain humility that comes with that, right? Like, I am not in this position to talk to you if Jeffery Simmons wasn't an elite athlete. So it's not lost on me the time, the toil, and the talent that it takes for somebody to get to that level. Jeff used to tackle an oak tree in the backyard when he was 7 or 8 years old. Like the OTAs, the overcoming the ACL, in that moment, I saw everything that he had been through. And, he and I were very close. So when you're in that room and negotiating, it's more than just I'm negotiating so I can say I did the second highest deal or anything. You're trying to help a young man sustain generational wealth in a sport that you only have this finite window. So I see the bigger picture, man. It was like, for me, it's just really, really being dependent on somebody counting on me and me using the gifts that God has given me, like the ability to analyze, the ability to connect with people, all of these skill sets that I have. And it all kind of came into, the culmination of all these skill sets to help somebody. That's really what it is, man. Like, if we break it all the way down, the why is to help somebody else along the way, while also at the same time, getting a percentage of that so that I can provide and build my own legacy too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm just so magnanimous that I'm out here just, hey, helping no, but it everybody benefits if you do it right.
Yeah.
You get the benefit of having another family, Ashley, Brooke, Dylan, all of them, that his entire family, Miss Brenda, like, you get new family, you get people to believe in you, and you get to do it all every year, bro. I've never felt like I've worked a day in my life doing this. It's when you find your purpose and your why, it's pretty simple, bro.
Now, Paul, I believe you're from Louisiana.
Sure.
Um, tell us about kind of what your upbringing was like and where you're from and how maybe that shaped your mindset and who you are.
Oh, bro, that's a really good question, man. I was hoping you would say something about my city and where I'm from, man. So thank you. I'm from Eunice, Louisiana, man, a town of maybe like 13,000 people.
Mm.
So growing up where I'm from, everybody calls me Lil Paul. My daddy, Big Paul. I'm Lil Paul, and I'm getting old, bro. I got a birthday tomorrow, and I'm still Lil Paul. But man, that place, it's a small, tight knit community where it almost feels like everybody raised me. My mom's a school teacher, so she taught everybody. So that's kind of how I first started loving football because the football players would come around, and I'm just a little kid, so I'm always talking ball, playing Sega, playing PlayStation, playing games with those people, man. So I feel like where I'm from, man, everybody invested in me. Like it took a village, and I know that's a cliche, but
Hmm.
everybody, it was people in life who made all the right decisions, who had a great influence on me, and there's people in life who made some of the wrong decisions that championed me and pushed me and forced me to get better. Having an older sister that has cerebral palsy and is in a wheelchair, who never walk, that motivated me, taught me never feel sorry for myself. Like everything just in the aggregate, bro, where I'm from, it shaped me, taught me to work hard, taught me to believe in myself. I kind of always have had an underdog mentality, right? A little chip on our shoulder because people don't really know where Eunice is. Like we're one of those
Hmm.
places where like, oh, it's near Baton Rouge or oh, it's an hour and a half from New Orleans. So being where I'm from, man, I always wanted to elevate and do as good as I could, man, so that one day, people understand that I'm not an outlier. That there's a lot more great people from where I'm from. So when I have my opportunity in that light, I gotta go do my thing because I'm still a reflection of my city and I always will be. And no matter what, I can never turn my back on that city or act like I'm too big for that city. Those people have loved me. Them people was loving me the same whether I did a deal with Jeff Simmons or when I wouldn't have nobody but undrafted free agents. It's been an unconditional, unequivocal type love, and hopefully I've reciprocated that, and I will continue to reciprocate that same love because without that place, man, and without the prayers of all those pastors and all those aunties and the godmother that gave me a little money from her income tax return, it's like being from where I'm from gave me a purpose, bro, because I knew the kids were watching. I knew the elders were believing in me. I knew who I had to be. I knew who my family, I come from a good family. So I had that name on the back of my jersey, and it meant more to me than anything, man.
And Paul, I heard you say your sister has cerebral palsy. I believe you said your older sister.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah. So uh, I guess how did what your sister has had to deal with? How is that maybe that in particular shaped you, and maybe how much pride did you take in maybe being her brother and kind of looking out for her in whatever way you can as kind of a younger brother?
Absolutely, man. My sister, if you meet her right now, Ben, she's watching this. Whenever this airs, she's gonna be the first person to watch it. My sister has been my biggest supporter my entire life, which is kind of crazy because you would think that sometimes, she looking at it with, like, she hasn't never walked. She hasn't done some of the things I've done, but her disposition, bro, the happiest, most content person. So she always taught me to never really feel sorry for myself, like about anything. And she also
Mm.
taught me compassion for people. She's gone to school with the same kids her whole life. Sabrina, Stanford, Matt, like I know them. So it taught me never to make fun of people and always try to meet people where they were and to try to understand their circumstance. And she's the best person I know. And so, like, after my mom had her, they told my mom not to have any more kids. And
Mm.
lo and behold, my mama has me 2 days before Mother's Day. So, like, I've always felt that I had a purpose. And she's definitely part of that purpose, man, which is why, I there was a part in the season where there's a guy with the Titans named Bryce. Shout out my boy Bryce, but they do something nice for him every year. It was no question for me to get Jeff to film a video for him because I can empathize, to the best of my ability with people who have those disabilities, man. And it's big for me to love people and be soft and compassionate and understand, man, that I'm blessed. So I can never sit here and feel sorry for myself or, go to negative spaces too much because, I'm looking at my sister, bro, and she has the perfect disposition.
Mm. Love that. Love that perspective. And Paul, I think a couple times I've seen videos of you like trying to dunk or like you in like layup lines, like for the whole like playing basketball or something. So I have to ask, like, were you an athlete like growing up? You play ball, you play
Yeah.
football. Like
Come on,
what's kind of your athletic background like? I gotta
come
ask
on
that.
now, man. I'm so glad you. And I want the people to know we didn't rehearse none of this, but
Yeah.
my clients, they always hate me. Like every time I do something athletic, I don't know who's gonna say something first, Jeray or Jeff. If I post anything, they be like, "That's terrible, Paul. Look at your knees. Why do you run like that?" But no, basketball, certified bucket. You know, I played like Steph before Steph. Just being honest. Being honest.
Yo,
Bucket
that's
like
crazy. You're
I'm a
comparing
bucket.
yourself to Steph.
I
That's
played
crazy.
football. My football career ended in about eighth grade. I got hit by Kirk Swallow, and I said, you know what, guys, maybe I'm gonna go on the other side of this. I'm good. I'm good on getting hit. I played receiver. I ran across the middle. Not gonna do that. Actually played tennis on the college level at Southern.
Hmm.
We won a couple of SWAC championships in my day.
Oh, okay.
So tennis is probably my best sport. I prefer basketball is probably my favorite sport to play, but
Okay.
I played tennis. You see me dunk, man. You see I still got the hops. I still got a lot of bounce for an old man, man. So it's and ping pong. Uh, I'm pretty good in that too.
Ooh, I'm heavy in that too.
But
I'm
ping
heavy
pong,
in that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me and my dad,
come on
my
now, man.
uncle.
Well, look, we can make this happen
Hey,
whenever
yeah.
you're ready.
Hey, next time you're in Nashville, or if I go out to where you are, we
Come
got to
on
go
now, man.
because yo, that's my thing for sure.
All right, I'm with
Yep.
it.
All right, let's do it. We'll have to do it. Um, but uh, but Paul, kind of back to the agent thing. As an up and coming agent, as a younger black man in this business as an agent, we know it's dominated by kind of white men and kind of big agencies and you're an up and comer and younger and black and you maybe do your job differently than others and maybe how you use social media or kind of how you carry yourself. I guess maybe what have been the challenges or your unique experiences in trying to carve your role in this space?
No, that's a good question, man. If you look at it though, traditionally the industry was dominated by men, older white men, which is what it was for the longest. But if you look the last 5 to 7 drafts, I think there's just a graphic that showed that out of the top 5 picks, I think all of them had a black agent, right? So you're starting to see, the David Mulligattas, the Tory Dandies, the Vincent Taylors, the Bilbos, Nicole Lynn's of the world. I don't want to leave anybody out. Chaffees, all those people. To me, you look up to them to a certain extent. Irrespective of the fact that you're competing, their success and them doing well, it makes it easier because, like I said earlier, the more and more I'm becoming less of an outlier in this business. Now, I do realize that as a black agent, and having earrings and maybe not looking the part, I have to be the consummate professional, right?
Hmm.
I can't be on social media wilding. Like you just said, I'm playing basketball, I'm with my daughter, I'm in church, or I'm singing. That's what I'm doing on social media. So I do realize that, there's a lot of expectation, especially coming from an HBCU too. Like a lot of these major agents that you're seeing, I think I'm one of the only ones that comes from an HBCU. So I'm wearing that too. I'm wearing
Hmm.
that, being a black agent, but also I come from an HBCU and it's a lot of kids. Recently when I spoke at the NFL Experience Ship in New York, they're coming up too, and they're watching how I move. So when I have those opportunities, like when you do what Jeff Simmons did, make sure you're dotting those I's and crossing the T's because you don't get the same margin of error that Joel Siegel gets, right? You just don't. It is what it is. So when you do get those chances, man, you want to be very meticulous. You want to be very professional, but at the same time, you can still be yourself. I think I can't allow myself to water myself. I'm not going to hide. That's not who I am. But my resume and what I do bring to the table, the 13 years of legal experience, the hundreds of mediations, I have to bring that. And it's not bragging, but you have to let people know, like, look, man, I didn't just wake up one day and decide to be an agent. I come with credentials too. I have the same credentials as everybody else. I have the same acumen. I have the same ability. You know what I mean? Like I'm the kind of guy,
Hmm.
me and the kid, we can play 2K or we can go to church. I'm very versatile. And as an agent, I think particularly as a black one, sometimes those are our superpowers. We can walk in a room and relate. I can go in a room with a kid from Louisiana right now. We don't have to say a word. I know they got black pots under the garage. I know they playing Uno over here. You can take
Max.
those elements of the culture. I think it's good that kids are starting to be represented by people that look like them. That's creating a narrative. A long time ago, agents weren't educating these players. These new players are educated to the point where a Lamar Jackson could stand on his own and negotiate a deal. Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, Laramie Tunsil. Like, this is the era of player empowerment. I think any good agent should want their player to learn, because who knows? Maybe that third deal they can do themselves. That's cool. Because why are you in this business if you're not trying to help people? That's what you in it for, bro.
That's an interesting perspective, Paul, because I feel like there is a segment of agents who don't like the fact that players, high profile players getting to their second, third contracts feel that they have the information themselves to negotiate a deal, and it cutting the agent out. But you like that. You like the fact that players are kind of more empowered than ever. I guess why are you such a big proponent of that when it's essentially kind of taking away opportunities for you potentially?
You say that, bro. I'm a Christian before I'm an agent, right? And I'm a black man who wants to see other young men continue to evolve and grow. So if a player, if in that process I'm quote unquote cut out, which I don't think, because I think it won't be a situation where all these players are doing it. It's very unique circumstances.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with that, man. Like, there's no problem with somebody learning their business and understanding it. Because you know what? Those players, let's say that player has negotiated his own deal and learned the nuances of the workout bonuses and the CBA and done all of that, right? Met with Mark Levin and Adam Rashilly from the NFLPA. That could be helping that player get into the front office one day or to be an owner. So all of these days, you don't have such a dearth of African American men in front office. Rand Carthon played in the league for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. He learned the business. He learned to say he's a GM. So I think that, like, it's okay to evolve and it's okay to adapt. And for me, I think that you get more by being an open book with people. I think, honestly, a player might trust and value you more if you teach them, because they feel like you're not trying to hide anything from them. Like, me teaching you, me causing your value to appreciate doesn't necessarily make mine depreciate, because we still have the personal aspect of the relationship, all these other elements, bro. There's a space for there to be a happy medium between players learning and growing and agents still being of value. Because you know what, bro? Like, some players just don't have the temperament to. Some people would rather give like 2% just so I ain't got to worry about it. You know, peace of mind. You can't always put a value on peace of mind. I think Jeffery is smart enough to have negotiated his own deal, right? I think a lot of players are, but it's like, look, bro, I don't want to hear them talk about why Aaron Donald's better than me, or I don't want to hear, the agent sometimes can be that intermediary, that buffer, that cooler head when the emotions get. There's still a value to an agent. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Lamar Jackson's situation was totally different. All the leverage in the world for the most part. Tunsil, all the leverage in the world. You're seeing a common theme with the players who have negotiated their own thing, and it's an inordinate amount of leverage. And they didn't really need it, and the NFLPA has people there to help them, bro. Like, I'm never be the type of agent that'll hide the ball from nobody. And I think that's why I'm going to keep ascending, because, like, I don't got to hide nothing from nobody. I want you to learn. I want you to be able to get into the NFL front office, own a team one day. How else you going to be able to do that if you're not at any way, shape, or form involved in your own contract?
Or who's kind of been that person that you've looked to, or the way they've done it, or maybe it could have been a black agent who's already established that you looked to and was like, I want to do what they're doing or how they're doing it. Do you have anyone like that in your life, or someone who's still a factor in your life, or someone in the past who kind of was that person for you?
That's a really good question, bro. I think just going in and getting into the business, all of us, of this era, all looked up to Eugene Parker. Eugene Parker, I met his son at the combine. Eugene Parker's a pioneer from Indiana, former basketball player, rep Dion, Rod Woodson. But his style, he was one of the first agents to go towards the shorter deals, higher guarantee. he's a pioneer for sure. Just a consummate professional. You know, when Dion got introduced into the Hall of Fame, Eugene Parker was the person who introduced him. He was just that standard to me, somebody who I really, really looked up to. And, you know, of course, along the years, I wouldn't say I just have this one mentor. You know, I'm the product of a lot of people. I may hit up Bilbo and have a conversation with him. I might hit up VT. You know, I've spoken with David Mulligan, and Nicole and I talked several times throughout the process, you know, of getting Jeff's deal done. So I think there's a lot of people, right? We're all in the same business. It's no different than a basketball player, you know, sitting down watching Dame Lillard probably watching something that Steph does and incorporates that into his game. You know, it's like, oh, okay, Bilbo, I like what you did with that Jarvis Landry deal. I see what you did there. You know, being a true student of the game, you're gonna look up to different people, but at the same time, now I still have that level of respect for everybody, but I feel like I'm your peer now. You know, it felt like I got one of them big deals now too. So not saying I'm on the same level as you because you know I gotta prove that I can do it more than one, but it ain't too much more little broing. You know, it's kind of like
Yeah.
we're all elite now, and we all have to keep on advancing the culture. And my legacy is going to be what agents come up under me who have looked at me as someone to look up, and I have to carry myself correctly in every facet because of that. There's those them same eyes that I had watching David and all of those and Tori and all of those guys. It's like, okay, I want to be in that conversation. I want to be in that echelon, and the only way to get there is to keep representing elite athletes and getting better every
So yeah. So Paul, kind of going off of that for the kid, the young kid who wants to be the next Paul DeRousselle, what advice would you give them, or what kind of words of wisdom based on your own experiences? What would you tell that kid?
I would tell that kid to take a long, long look in the mirror and make sure that this is what you want to do. Because so many times, man, people watch Jerry Maguire, they see the movies, and they like the idea of being an agent, right? They think all the agent does is, oh, he got you paid. The agent get 15%. I'm like, bro, if I got 15%, I wouldn't be on this podcast with you right now. I'm just there's this misconception like that it's
Yeah.
all fun. Oh, you know, I like athletes. I know. I would tell them that, like, bro, it's going to be hard. You are going to be tested. It will not be easy. You are going to get rejected. It's like a cornerback. You better have a short memory because you're gonna get beat, and you better go out there and keep adapting and keep evolving and don't stop working on your craft. And don't believe that there's a one size fits all pitch for every player. Certain players have different values, bro, and you have to be able to adapt. And while adapting, make sure that there's a space where you guys are on the same page and your goals are aligned. Because at the end of the day, the player and the agent, our futures are intertwined. As
Yeah.
good as you do, that's determines how good I'm going to do. So I would tell that person to also seek mentorship, seek meaningful mentorship, not the whole, yeah, I'm gonna hit you up. Oh, I'm gonna hit like no. Find people who are invested in you, but at the same time, make yourself available. Be willing to do the dirty work. Be willing to go to Senior Bowl and meet scouts. You don't just start off meeting general managers, bro. Like, what do you think general managers, they don't grow on tree. They start off as directors of personnel, director of college scouting. Like, you won't wave a wand and it won't just happen. Also, just because you know somebody who went to your high school or somebody's kid, that does not mean that they're going to sign with you just because they know you. Be prepared. Don't take nothing for granted. Don't think, oh, just because my auntie went to church with her. Nah, bro, them dogs are coming. At least first, they coming. CAA, they coming. And they're coming. So you have to be prepared and trust who you are and trust what you bring to the table. Focus on your strengths and not your weaknesses. Like, okay, I can't come with the volume argument. I can't just pull out a piece of paper and say, 40 guys, look at my stats, right? How do I win? I have to win personality. I have to find that way. I can't go to the club with Jay-Z and all those guys. I ain't got the most money in the club to get the pretty girl, right? How do you win? Personality, through grit, doing the little things. So it's just about finding out who you want to be in this business, bro. And once you find that, you stick to it and you surround yourself with good people and you don't be fair weather. Don't be a front runner. I'm saying don't be a front runner. Some years you might get 3 guys, some years you might get 0. You got to be able to go with the ebbs and the flows. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be like, bro, I know I'm better than him. How he got 23 guys in the league? You got to run your own race because comparison, as I said before, bro, is the thief of all joy. So All of that advice I just gave, that was one big TED talk, but I think you got the picture.
No, that was good stuff, man. And Paul, I've heard you mention church a lot and your faith and how it's kind of impacted your outlook on life and how you approach your job. I guess where does that foundation of faith for you come from, and why is it so important for you that is a part of kind of everything you do and everything you look at?
Man, it's important because I'm not gonna turn this into a TD Jakes or Tony Evans. They say I've been doing a lot of that lately, but man, you got to have a foundation. Can't build a house without a foundation. At the end of the day, so for me, church is that foundation, giving me that balance. It's easy to lose yourself in the world, man. You get so caught up in money and fame and accolades. This business can turn you into a monster, right? It can turn you into, it can make you like not be who you are. You can get so caught up in money and greed and just all of that. So having that foundation of God, man, and going to Bible study every Wednesday and going to church, same row 6, it's made me accountable to something that's bigger than me. So if I'm in a good space spiritually, right, and I'm doing the correct things, guess what, bro? It trickles down to my guys, my clients. They know that no matter what Saturday night has looked like, all right, Saturday can look like an all-night flight. You know what that is, dude.
Yeah.
They know that the agent is getting up and going to church. And I think they're looking at it like, bro is disciplined. He does not drink. He goes to church. He stands on who he says. Now, granted, we all make mistakes, bro. But for the most part, I'm a man of principle, and I stand on that. And I believe that that's important, bro, for me. Because at the end of the day, I can't take nothing I do with this agency stuff. At the end of the day, like when it's time for me to go and it's over, it's about who I was as a man, what I stood on, how I treated other people, and did I help spread the gospel of God. And I'm not Tim Tebow or nothing like that, but at the same time, if I know that I'm not in this position to negotiate, to even talk to you right now, if it wasn't for God giving me this vision and giving me the tools to see this vision come to fruition.
And Paul, very last question for you, and this has been great. Really appreciate your time. What's next for you? What's next for Paul DeRousselle in 2023?
Man, I I looked at it like this, man. What happened with Jeff was big, and you're happy about it. But I know that's not my ceiling, right? So it's about removing those artificial ceilings that come along with complacency too, right? So I think for me, it's just about making sure we have a really good draft class next year. Make sure that Jure's our rookie Jure up there in Jacksonville is that he's in a good space. Make sure that D Anderson, who's in the USFL cutting up, is doing well. Making sure that Tyree Phillips, who's heading into a contract year, make sure that he's in a good space, and we're doing the necessary preparation to maximize his value. So it's about just keep growing, man, and keep getting better. Going back to that last deal we did with Jeff and realizing where could I have been better? What could I have done? Talking to a follow-up with Rand, how can I get better and keep ascending to that upper echelon, man? And I know that, that's what's going to happen. I'm just going to keep getting better. I know I see all these agencies are merging and the competition is like, God, it's going, but if I keep getting better and focusing on myself and my growth and, continuing to partner with good athletes, the rest is gonna take care of itself, bro. And I'm actually doing some speaking engagements and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I got a little press kit. Shout out to my girl Michaela. She been holding me down. So I'm gonna be going around different places and speaking too, man. So and I'm working on a book called Faith Failure Football. Which is kind of so and that, I'm an English major. So just writing the book, man, I don't know when it's gonna come out, hopefully next year at some point.
Okay. Good stuff, Paul. Well, everyone, this has been Raw Facts. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me, listening. Please share, subscribe, get the word out there. Paul DeRousselle, NFL agent, thank you so much for being a guest. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, I just want to tell you before you go, bro. I'm proud of you, man. You know what you're doing. Like, you didn't sit here and champion me and told me you up and coming, man. You got all the tools to. I look forward to watching your journey. Probably the same way you're trying to see what I'm gonna do next. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for you, bro. You good questions, good flow, good dude, hard working, man. I wish you the best too, my brother.
Appreciate you, Paul. All right, guys, that's it. See you guys next week.
All right.